Hey guys, Sean C. Phillips here doing an in-the-car review of The Dark Knight Rises. Now, I just got out of the midnight screening of The Dark Knight Rises. It's 3:13 now, and it was really busy. I think they pretty much, as far as I could tell, put it in every single one of the theaters. And I think there was like 14 theaters, something like that. The one I was in, they apparently started letting people into it at 9:30 for some reason. So when I got in there at, I think, 11, because I thought, oh, okay, I'll get in there like an hour early, the whole theater was 100% full. So I basically just went around to every single theater and see which one I could find the best seat in, because I did not want to have to be like, oh, squenched in with people. Luckily enough, I could find like a spot where I wasn't. You know, and I talk about the movie, you know, I'm going to try not to have any kind of spoilers or anything, although with this kind of movie, you know, just, if you don't want to risk any spoilers, I guess don't watch this until after you've seen the movie. Although I'm going to be very careful. It's just the trailers for this kind of show certain things, you know, things exploding like the, you know, the stadium and things like that, and certain kind of shots, but, you know, they don't really explain any of it. But basically the movie starts with Bruce Wayne's character, you know, in his mansion. There's a big party going on outside, and they're all like, where is he? And they haven't, basically it takes place 8 years after the end of The Dark Knight, and it's basically him, you know, and at this point in his life, he's like a shut-in, and as you know, how the last movie ended, you know, Batman was, you know, accused of the murder of Harvey Dent, so he basically had to go into hiding, the Batman character. So when that happened, Bruce Wayne just went into hiding, and basically became a recluse, shut-in, and no one had seen him. The only person, you know, who really would see him was Alfred when he, you know, he needed to do something. And, you know, Wayne Enterprises and everything was just sort of going into the ground because he hadn't done anything. He was just sort of a shut-in. And Anne Hathaway's character is there, and she poses as a maid going into Bruce Wayne's room to bring, I think, food up. And she's in there, and she ends up stealing necklaces that she cracks from a safe. And, you know, he's there and sees this happen, and this is basically gets him to start to research her and try and figure out who this woman was who stole the things. So when this happens, it kind of gets him kind of back into things a little bit. And the whole movie, though, is basically, you know, the main villain in the movie is Bane. And I thought as a villain he did a very good job. I thought he was, you know, he definitely was a very strong character, and, you know, I don't think that he was as good as the Joker in the last movie. I don't think anybody could, you know, top that. I think that Joker character was one of the best villains, and Heath Ledger did an amazing job. But the Bane character really, really was good, and very close behind, you know, as a villain. I think he definitely was one of probably the second best villains I've seen in a long time. I mean, it really was a very powerful character, and I think, I don't know, I thought it really was pretty good. I thought the mask thing was pretty good. I did think some things with, like, when Bane was talking, it seemed a little bit, like, kind of unnatural to the environment almost. Just, I mean, I know it's kind of a weird thing, but it just sort of seemed kind of like added in later, his voice. It was kind of like, I don't know how it could sound exactly like that the way it sounded in real life. And if you're watching it, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. It just sort of seemed a little bit too, you know, directional. But, you know, I thought it was a cool voice, though, and I thought it was pretty good. You know, I thought that it was pretty much in tie with The Dark Knight. You know, not as good, but yet there was a lot of things in it that were way more bigger explosions, bigger things happening. All in all, it was a bigger movie. And, you know, I know a lot of people saying, you know, is this going to be the last one? I know Christopher Nolan says that it's going to be the end. You know, I'm not going to say, you know, what I think is, you know, me personally, you know, with things like this, you never know if they're going to reinvent it, like they've kind of done with the Spider-Man movies, and they're just going to come back, and it'll be a different Batman in a whole other universe. I'm interested in seeing what they're going to do, but I really did enjoy this movie. I thought it was good. It was a little long, though. It was close to 3 hours. I think it was 2 hours and 47 minutes. So, you know, make sure you've done all the piassing and everything beforehand, because, you know, I had to take a serious piass. It was a long movie. But, you know, it didn't really drag, though. I will say, too, it was a little bit like Beetlejuice, where Batman wasn't in it as much. It was kind of like the Batman Returns. You know, he's not in it as much as you think. You know, even though it's the Batman movie, Batman really was only probably in an hour of the movie, I'd say. Something like that. I really did, though, like Anne Hathaway as Catwoman, and it's not the same kind of Catwoman where it was Selena Kyle falling out the window and dying and getting licked by the cats and coming back to life. It wasn't like that. It was basically Catwoman as a cat burglar. But, you know, I thought she did a pretty good job. I don't think, you know, the sexiness to Catwoman, which was in the, you know, Tim Burton's one with the suit and all that kind of stuff, wasn't exactly the same. You know, Michelle Pfeiffer really, when I think of Catwoman, to me, is Catwoman. But, you know, Anne Hathaway really did do a pretty good job, though. I thought, you know, I really wasn't sure going into it what I was going to think with her in that role, but I think she did a pretty good job. Also, Bane as a villain, it was kind of reminding me of the Tim Burton's movies with him as the villain a little bit, with the henchmen and the people that were working with him. It kind of was a little bit like the Jokers in the Tim Burton ones. And I don't know how to exactly explain it. There's something about the way they were doing things, you know, it just kind of had that vibe to it. Some characters, too, they didn't do as much stuff as, you know, would like them to have done, like Michael Caine, you know. But also, a couple characters, too, came back, which was pretty cool. You know, someone from the first movie. All in all, though, I really do think this was a good movie. I don't think it was better than The Dark Knight, you know. And, you know, I will admit, though, that these movies are bigger, more epic movies than the Tim Burton films. But still, to me, when it comes to, like, I guess it's just because I grew up with them, I always really loved the Tim Burton ones. And I know they're not perfect movies, but it was just something a little bit more fun to them. These ones aren't, these are way more epic movies, but not as fun as the Tim Burton ones. But like I said, I really did enjoy this one, though. It is, like I said, a little bit long. Too, the one thing that is always a shame with these movies is since they have to be PG-13, and I understand why they have to be PG-13, they have to cut away a lot. And this one especially, The Dark Knight had a lot of sequences when they had to cut away to things, you know, but this one had a lot of little things they had to cut away from. So I don't know if they shot that stuff. It would be really cool if they could do an unrated cut, and I know they never will, because, you know, it has to be sold to the PG-13 crowd, but that's the only thing that I've always kind of, you know, wished. Like with the Tim Burton ones, they kind of, you know, it was done a little bit more comical, so there wasn't too much that was getting cut away from, and too much that they really couldn't have shown, and things like that. But this one had a lot of little things. It was like, and like no blood in certain sequences, and if you see it, you know what I'm talking about. It did have, you know, the epic opening like the Dark Knight did. The music, I thought the music in the opening was some of the best. You know, the new theme that they had to it, like I guess Bane's theme. And I really, like I said, I really liked that apparatus that he was wearing and thought that it was kind of an interesting thing. But all in all, though, out of 10 stars, I'd probably give it about an 8. You know, I really do think it's worth watching, and I know a lot of people are going to see this, and I wanted to get this review up like right afterwards, because I know there's going to be a lot of reviews going online, and I know I've seen all this stuff going on, too, about, you know, critics, if they said they didn't like it and stuff, getting death threats and crazy stuff like that. But like I said, there's really nothing wrong with this movie. You know, it really is a well-done movie, really was a good movie. It was better than the new Spider-Man movie, definitely. I did not see the Avengers, so I don't know. You know, I do need to see that. But all in all, though, I would definitely say this is definitely one to check out. And thanks a lot for watching, for subscribing, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.